People of the realm, welcome to our first Q&A session, where people have been asking questions from north, south, east, west and over in Essos as well. I'll try my best to answer them as best as I can, and you're ready to listen to my ramble. So, the first question comes from Jojo, and Jojo has put, also, they never actually showed the Blackfish die. Is there any reason you can think of for him to still be alive? Well, there's plenty of reasons I can think for him to still be alive, although I don't think they'll actually use him. I think he died off screen just due to time constraints and the fact of they didn't know what they were actually going to do with him. When in fact what they should have done is had him be honourable and really stick up to his family's words, family duty, honour. He should have gone with Brienne. That's the end of it. All in all, do I think he's alive? Probably not. I don't see him reprising his role. I think it was a little bit of a waste for him to come back in such a small period of time. If he was to be alive, what would he do? It's difficult. Maybe show up in the Brotherhood without banners. Although I don't see that happening. I think he's as good as dead. Jojo also had a second question. I like your Baelish accent. Never was Peter Baelish, but if that's what you want to think. Also, why do you think Catelyn Stark is on the poster for this season? All the other heads have showed up so far, but not hers. Even Ned Stark showed up in Bran's flashback. Do you think it's possible that Lady Stoneheart will be coming in episode 10? Also, do you think Bran is the Lord of Light? Great videos. Well, in terms of do I think Bran is the Lord of Light, simple answer is no. We're not going to get too in depth about that because that's quite a big question. In terms of Lady Stoneheart, I've been thinking a lot about this. It felt as if through the series they were having a look about getting her on board. They were hinting at things. They actually had a couple of people hanged. And that, in case you don't know, is her calling card. She likes to hang a lot of phrase. But now I've got my logical brain on. After the reveal came about and Lady Stoneheart wasn't there, it was Beric again, and he was the one doing the hanging. It got me thinking, the Red's wedding happened about 3 years ago now. So if she was resurrected, she would be a bloody state. She would be bones, she would be... yeah, that's all she would be. She would be skeletal. So for that pure and simple reason, I think no, she will not be back in episode 10, although I would love her to be very much. Anna Chris Medina has posted in the Q&A, hope this isn't a repost again, Demon Phone, I know the feeling. Will R plus L equal J be revealed in episode 10? And if so, do you think we'll finally share this long-awaited nugget? What's your theory regarding Jon's lineage for books versus show? Congrats on expanding your realm of subs, thank you. Do I think we'll find out Jon's parentage in episode 10? I think we'll find out something. The Tower of Joy flashback more than likely will come to fruition, but I'm not sure if they'll actually reveal it's Jon. What I think they are actually going to go ahead and do, they're going to reveal that there was a baby at the tower, maybe even twins. And if it is a singular baby, I think they're going to cut to shots of Jon and to Dany to keep you kind of guessing who it is. And that's how I think they're going to go. I don't think there's going to be any real shocks. I think that D&D are pretty much verging on Jon being a Targ, and that's how it's going to go. In terms of my theories of Jon's lineage, books versus show, I'm not going to get into that. I'm preparing a separate video on that, Anna Chris, so you're going to like this one. I hope that Jon isn't a Targ. That's just a little hint. And thank you for your question. Clear route. Probably the strangest question. So tell me your thoughts on why people's theories leave you hanging. Tell me your thoughts on L plus R equals J. Tell me the mass of L or R. No, you can't get it. It's a giant cliffhanger. The formula to a theory. How can I take that serious? At this stage in time, I am as well to be sitting in Chester's playing the games of Chinese whispers. Amen, people of the realm. You're a smart bunch, you lot. Jokes. What the fuck am I talking about? Well, I've no idea, Clearroot. Ain't got a clue what you're talking about. We've covered L plus R, and you know my thoughts on that. So my thoughts on theories that leave you hanging. That's quite an open question, but I'm going to try and answer it as best I can. My idea of a good theory is one that makes me think. I know that sounds very basic, but it's actually a lot more in depth on that. I've reread the books a couple of times now, and before I go ahead for another rereading session, I like to latch on to a little bit of a theory and read the book again, based on that theory, such as the Great Northern Conspiracy or Rickard Stark's Sovereign Ambitions. So things like that will actually, make things a lot more interesting. So that's kind of what hooks me in and it leaves me hanging, because we don't know how this story is all going to end out, particularly in the books. So there's a bit of a wishy-washy answer for you in regards to that. Let's move on. Next question. 126TCY has asked, well, it's more of a statement than a question, but I liked it enough to include it. It would be awesome if Davos pulls that necklace off of Mel's throat and she turns into an old witch. It would be the unveiling of who she really is. That is very true indeed. And it actually is a very good statement. It kind of answers what Heather McFarlane's going to ask. And that was, what will happen if Jon stabs Mel with his sword? I think if he stabs Mel with his sword, her power would obviously go. She would revert into the old hag. Do I think it would bring about a certain prophecy? No, I don't. Because for that prophecy to come to fruition, Jon must be in love with her. And he's clearly not in love with Mel. Now, what reason could he have to stab Mel with his sword? Well, it depends what sword you're talking about. He's already turned her down once when she's trying to bed him, and I don't think he's actually going to cause any sort of physical harm to her with an actual sharp instrument. Anna Chris again, because you comment quite a lot, so I figure we'll give you another question. How do you think the R plus L... Oh, hang on. That is exactly the same question before. That is your demon phone. You did warn me about it, though. So let's go on to a different one of yours, then. In fact, no. We don't have a different one of yours. That's fine. Sarah, or Sarah. I'm going to go with Sarah. Breshnahan. Sorry if I got that wrong. So, Bran is the new three-eyed raven. Sansa and Arya are female. Jon is a bastard. This leaves a significant power vacuum in Winterfell. Littlefinger has the best shot at solidifying alliance with the Vale by marrying Robin to Sansa, with himself as warden. Do you see any other way that this can play out? Unless Robb's letter shows up, I don't see how the Starks can hold on to Winterfell. Well, I think Robb's letter is probably going to make an appearance, but it really depends on what's revealed in the Tower of Joy flashback. If there is something there, and it's something which is 100% saying there's a baby in this tower, Lyanna Stark is the mother, Rhaegar Targaryen is the father, and that baby's called Jon, then I don't see Robb's letter showing up. I don't see them doing that. So I think it's more likely that Robb's letter would show up and Jon gets legitimized. Which is going to be strange, because can't only a king legitimize people? We'll see. I think the Starks will be able to hold on to Winterfell now that they've got rid of that. I don't see them having any more enemies in the north. The Karstarks, what's left of their army isn't going to last long, if anything. I think the north is going to settle down a little bit until the White Walkers finally show up. And with Sansa, as mentioned in one of the previous things, she's probably going to end up with the Dreadfort. I'm going to say the Driftfort there, the Dreadfort. Okay, Samuel Beaver has said, do you think HBO's Game of Thrones has dumbed down this season? It's not as complex as previous seasons. Yeah, I tend to agree. It has definitely been dumbed down. And I don't just think it's something that's happened this season. I think it's something that's been occurring over the last few seasons. When you read the books, you can see that there's so much in-depth and political intrigue in it. The plots are a lot more complex, and you don't have Littlefinger constantly smirking and telling people what he's actually been up to. In terms of this season itself, I think you are spotting on what you say. This season has seemed very paint by numbers. If you watch a lot of my season 6 theory videos, I've been pretty much saying what I hope is going to happen, trying to give some sort of... To be honest, I'm trying to surprise myself a little bit because I can see how it's going to go. And there aren't actually any surprises. I hope in the final episode there's going to be a surprise, and I've got a very interesting video coming out tomorrow, which I think might have a few people talking. We'll see though. Sir Mysterioso, one of my first commenters and subscribers, thank you very much for your question. So since you're a book reader, do you think that Theon still has a chance to have an heir since he sexed up that girl on the boat when he was originally going home? Yeah, probably. It would be a bastard. I'm not too sure what good that was due to Theon. Because he didn't actually take her as a salt wife either, did he? So who knows? It is a possibility. His lineage certainly isn't dead. I'd be more concerned about his sister and the fact that she's probably not gonna have any little ones unless she decides to do it for the duty and honour of her house. Now, don't the Ironborn have some sort of custom concerning salt wives also? Oh, right, great. So I just covered that as I was reading the question. Yeah, they do. I'm not too sure what the custom on salt wives actually is. You can obviously take a wife, a salt wife, should I say, in battle. You don't pay the price for her. I wouldn't consider what he did on the boat taking a salt wife, though. More like taking advantage, because that girl was dense. Also, great job on the videos for taking your time to respond to comments and posts as well. I know it's difficult, and you'll get more as your channel grows, but as a viewer, I truly appreciate it. Well, thank you for that. I do try my best to respond to the majority of comments. I don't like to be one of those people who just responds saying, okay, thank you for commenting, and apologies if it ever gets to that state, but I will still, acknowledge the majority of sensible comments. Stacey L has asked, well, congratulations. How do you think Tyrion's accent sounds to you? What secrets will be revealed in the Winterfell crypts? Tyrion's accent sounding really weird right now. He started off okay, but I think he's becoming somewhat a caricature of himself in a strange way. I still like it, but there's no real consistency with how him and his siblings speak. They've all got strange accents. But yeah, as long as his writing continues to be good, I'm happy with it for now. There are worse accents. What secrets will be revealed in the Winterfell crypts? You know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I get the feeling that with there being crypts and there's statues of everyone, there's going to be something in Lyanna's statue. There's gotta be. And my memory might be playing tricks on me, but did she not have a rose, the blue rose, as part of her statue? It wouldn't have been blue, but I'm pretty sure that was involved. I think there's something involved there, some sort of proof, some sort of evidence. Be interesting. Maybe there's a certain harp. Mitch Corbin, what do you think Littlefinger will do now? Well, I think he'll try and work his magic and get into Sansa's pants. I think that's the only way that he can kind of get his foothold in the north, and now Sansa does kind of owe him as well. So is it something they're going to go ahead and actually do? I think he's going to stay predominantly in the Vale. He is mainly responsible for that at the moment, but he knows that that's only going to be a short amount of time. If anything happens to Sweet Robin, he's pretty much as good as gone, because Harold of the Vale will take over. Robert Plant, this is a great question, and it's a really big one. If D&D quit and the rest of the show was down to you to rewrite, how would you end it? Who would be alive at the end? Big question. I'm not going to fully answer it in this video. As I believe it was Anarchist said, this possibly deserves its own video. So here's what I'll answer for you. How's the next episode going to go? And I'm not going to answer it in this video. I'm actually going to do a special video for you. I'll bring it out tomorrow. It's going to be how I would have episode 10 go down. So hopefully you'll enjoy that, Rob. Okay, Soren Valescu. Congrats on the 1k subs. What do you think will happen to Mel when Davos tells Jon that she burnt Shireen? Personally, I don't see much happening. Obviously, I see him being shocked and somewhat disgusted with her. I'm more concerned with what Davos will do to Mel. I think something's brewing there, and I think Mel's destined to die. Maybe not in this season, but it's definitely brewing. But my question is, back to you, will Davos be the one that ends her? He also asks, what's your stance regarding Preston Jacobs' theory that A Song of Ice and Fire is actually science fiction? and it's just another story from George R.R. Martin's Thousand Worlds universe. Well, in terms of the Thousand Worlds universe, I don't think it's part of that. I can see how people will see that they believe it's part of that, because there's loads of little individual stories, individual worlds within that one. And as Preston Jacobs says, there are a lot of similarities between things in those stories and things that we see in the Song of Ice and Fire. But you would expect that from the majority of novelists. They will bring what they've written previously into new stories as well, but just probably formulaic, ways on how to move the story forward. And if that's something that interests George Martin, I can understand how it's made its way into A Song of Ice and Fire, certainly. Do I believe that it's actually science fiction? I can't remember who it is. It says probably George Martin. Science fiction and fantasy to me are the same thing. You don't have to be just on a spaceship, in distant realms for it to be science fiction. Because if you think about science fiction in a way, take the Time Machine, for example, when they go back in time they go into the future and then they find the Morlocks. The Morlocks are in the caverns, they've been there all this time, and they're not entirely sure what this thing is. So does that mean that it's magical all of a sudden and it falls into the fantasy realm because they don't know what this time machine actually is? See, it's one of those, it's technological based, and that to me, no, I don't think so. That's a bit of a weird answer. I don't think I'm being really clear on that. I think they're one and the same. That's my answer. There we go. See what happens when I do things on the fly and not script it. Next up, we've got Everdawn. I've got lots and lots of debate on whether Sansa betrayed Jon or not by not telling him about the Vale Army. What do you think? I think, yes, partly it is a betrayal. He's the commander of the Northern Forces, or joint commander for those who are saying that Sansa should share that burden because both of them were recruiting. He was unable to make important decisions into his battle plan because he wasn't aware of that. I can see on the flip side of things, Sansa was also probably thinking, well, you know what? I can't really trust Baelish. I don't know if he's actually going to turn up, so can we really put the future and the fate of this battle on, a possibility? So I get that. My personal opinion is she should have told him. But then again, would it made any difference? He still would have gone storming off like an idiot. Oh yeah, the second question we've kind of already covered. What do you think Jon's reaction will be to Melbourne and Shireen? Just discussed. I don't think anything's going to come of it. It's more Davos, what he's going to be doing once it all comes to a head. Also, what about the Hound and Brienne reunion with a side of Torment? Are you saying there's going to be a freeway here? Well, maybe there is. They did a weird thing. A couple of seasons back, they started doing buddy. They had, they've done it most recently with Jamie and Brienne and Pods, and it was just becoming this really buddy show. And I think it's not something I enjoy. Because some people will bounce off each other, some people won't. Some of the writing can suffer as a result because you can find it getting quite stretched out and nothing really happens. There's a bunch of people journeying about. So I hope it doesn't, but I do hope Tormund becomes the Lord of the Sapphire Isles. That'd be good. Technically, now that Ramsay is gone, isn't Sansa Lady Bolton of the Dreadfort? Yes, she is. Everyone thinks she will take Winterfell, but can she hold 2 seats? There are some of my questions, so take your pick. As always, enjoy your video. Yeah, I think she's Lady of the Dreadfort. She might take up the Dreadfort. Personally, I actually like the idea of Davos getting the Dreadfort. I think that'd be quite good. I don't know why, just something that tickles me. Okay, Nikki Cortez has said, who becomes the King of the North when Jon Snow is a bastard? Well, we hope a certain letter from Robb will appear soon, legitimising him. Or, if the Tarandrai flashback reveals Jon to be a secret Targ, then we are probably looking for Sansa to take it up. It's a strange situation. I can understand why a lot of people are worried about the North at the moment. But then again, they declared a king in the North for the first time in however long since Torrhen. So what's to say they're not to declare queen in the North with Sansa? You never know. And final question from Mad Hatter. I thought this season showed King's Landing exploding. Will Cersei light the wildfire? Well, the wildfire is already in place, as discussed in my Mad Queen video. I believe that she's certainly going to attempt to light the wildfire. Question is, will she be successful? And who will die as a result of it if she is? So that's going to be the end of this Q&A. That last answer I gave you is going to have something to do with the video that I'm going to be releasing tomorrow. And just so you know, it's probably going to be tomorrow afternoon, because today, in case you are unaware, is my birthday and I plan on being severely hungover. So, if the Northlander comes back huskier than usual, you know exactly why it is. I'm going to apologise now for not making a lot of sense, but then you can go and bugger yourself. If it makes it less painful for you, have a glass of ale, find yourself a good woman, or if you're one of those southern bastards, go and sleep with a horse. That's it for now. That totally didn't make any sense. Thank you everyone for all your questions, and I will see you all in the next one.